what the heck do I mean by that? Well, the consequences, I can give you some information. I looked up the Small Business Administration site. 50% of small businesses fail within 5 years. 65% fail within 10 years. Now, those are pretty dismal results, don't you think? Now, why is this the case? How come? Well, people start businesses. There's 28 million small businesses in the world, or not in the world, in the United States. 28 million. And many of those people who start a business, they can do it. And several articles I've been reading, the American dream of owning your own house has been replaced by starting your own business. And it's becoming more and more popular today. And with the new president, hopefully it's going to be encouraged even more so. But so many business owners who start businesses really aren't prepared to do it. And so I dug a little deeper here. You know, where do they get their advice? Where do people get their advice for starting up small businesses? And we define small as from 1 to 25 employees. The revenues don't make any difference, and certainly in startups, revenues are, you're scratching and clawing like a cat. Well, I won't go into it. But
So where do they get their advice from? That was your question?
Excellent question, Adam.
I bet it's free.
Well, let me tell you where the source is. I
right.
did a little digging here in my pondering. Accountants provide 60% of the advice given to small business owners, and we got a lot of problems with that. But that's how it stacks up, and we also understand it. Other business owners provide 50%. This stuff doesn't necessarily add up to 100%. Other business owners provide 50% of the information necessary to start a business. Google itself is contacted and consulted for 15% of advisory services. That's how people are looking for information. Bankers, 10%. Friends and family, God bless their souls, extremely well-intentioned. Blogs, YouTube, online forums, books, all these things and many more are looked at and consulted when starting a business. You know, it surprised me, since we're business coaches, there's very little mention of using business coaches to help you start your business.
Why are you surprised by that?
I am surprised because we've been doing this for 15 years and we've consulted many, many people. I mean, I know it exists, but I'm still surprised that it hasn't taken on more. And it shows you how long new things take to.
Let me give you a flashback. This is back in our early days, and we were at a friend of ours was speaking at a lunch of some very young. It was a young group. It was like a 20 something group. Maybe it was 30 under 30 kind of group, whatever it was. But it was for some young professionals, right? And so we got invited to this lunch. I was in the age group at that point. Jack wasn't. But we got invited because we knew the speaker.
Wait a minute.
You remember what I'm talking about here, right? So we had a couple of very young, bright ladies who were working for a company at this point. They've been working for maybe 5 years. They're both probably about 27 years old. And they had this idea of starting a company. So Jack, in his wisdom, was trying to give them some good guidance and advice. And they couldn't have thought you were more full of crap than anybody else in terms of, what do you mean? We know what we're doing. We have it all figured out. We've read about this and studied this, and okay. So you kind of shook your head and said, okay.
Go about your ways here. That's right.
Let me enjoy my dessert. You guys, you ladies keep on doing what you're doing, right? So they didn't know. They don't know what they don't know from a startup standpoint, especially at that age.
That's the big cause. You don't know what you don't know, and you can start a business relatively easy, relatively inexpensively. And hey, all I got to do, I got a great idea. This new gizmo that I'm working on. I know 6 people, friends and family. 6 people told me it's a great idea. I know I could sell 1 million of them, so I'm going to start a business. Hey, I probably got to get a patent. I got to talk to a lawyer. I got to do all these kind of. Let me correct my word here. All these silly things that you may need somewhere down the line, but certainly not in starting up.
Right. Versus what? Versus getting your first sale.
Getting your first sale. Get somebody outside of family and friends who are always going to be encouraging in that sense. Hey, this is a great idea, Adam. Well, I walk away from you, and now what are you going to do?
Well, before you get your first sale, maybe you want to see if you can give it away. If you can't give it away, certainly nobody's going to pay for it, right?
That's an excellent test, you know. But people understanding business, what is business? We'll ask people, and people will ask you, especially you small business owners. They're going to ask you, hey, tell me about your business. What do you say? They'll talk about their product. They'll talk about their service. Then where do they go? They don't know how generally, and I'm going to say 90% of the small business owners can't really present their company and what it does very well to whoever they're talking to. And it's not easy. It takes a little practice, and it's much more than just the product or service that you provide.
Well, to be fair, they've never really been asked that before. I mean, now, if you go for a bank loan, chances are you're going to meet with a banker for a little while, and they give you a pile of paperwork to fill out. And quite often, you can pass off some of that paperwork to you mentioned accountants or attorneys or somebody else or insurance agent to fill some of those things out. So, to actually have to present yourself, I guess most of them never even been asked that question. So when if they're trying to ponder that, well, how would I present? They aren't sure.
Well, we've seen it hundreds of times in our experience here. They don't know how to present. They don't know how to start, but yet they've been running a company for years. So what does that say? What does that say to the person starting a company? Going back to they don't know what they don't know.
Well, I'm smarter than they are, Jack. I've had a chance to present in big corporations and figure all that stuff out. So how hard can it be to do it in a small company?
We can loop back to why so many of them fail within 5 or 3 years or 10 years. They don't basically know what they're doing. And they got to learn it by usually pumping in their own money or borrowed money from family and friends. And that money runs out pretty quick for the most part. Now what do I do?
Let's define failure, because failure sounds like tragic, like here you are flying a plane and then crashes or something like that. It's not necessarily that way.
That's one form of failure.
Right. It's often more so the case, at least with what we have seen from our experience. It's people that they had a job, and in that job they were making a certain amount of compensation. And they go off on their own, and they try as hard as they can. They can't get back that same level of compensation. In fact, they can only get to a small fraction of that in the first several years. I'm going to guess a lot of that's in the first 5 years. I was making $120,000 a year, Jack. I haven't been able to take more than 40 out of this thing.
What am I doing this for?
Right.
My spouse is hammering me every time I come home, you know.
Yeah, I've gone through savings. I'm burning through my 401k, my IRA. We're burning through the kids' college fund, and all I can do to walk to the door every night and ask them, "Hey, did you get more business today? And things going? And when are you gonna go find a job?" So my guess is that's out of 50% that fail in the first 5 years. I got to believe at least half, if not 3/4 of those, are related to something like that. Where
you know what's going to happen. Journalists will write stories about these people, and they'll say they'll say they were undercapitalized.
Undercapitalized. That's right.
So in other words, you have to have an endless money pit that basically allows you to keep losing money. And you don't even many small business owners don't even understand if they're losing money or not.
You're giving me flashbacks to my .com days, Jack. When we were helping to raise money. People would get $100 million for any idea that had a .com after it, and the idea of a burn rate. Burn rate. Doesn't that sound very good? It's a burn rate. How fast can you burn through cash? What's your burn rate?
I'm going
what a
as
great
fast
place
as
to
I
be.
can, Adam. 24
We got an incinerator back there. We're throwing it. We could spend. We got to spend more so we can go raise more. Right?
We don't. We teach our clients to have a profit plan, which converts into a cash flow projection. You got to run your business that way. Now, saying those words, you small business owners out there, how many of you have a profit plan and a cash flow projection out for the next 90 days? How many of you have that and could present it with confidence? And more importantly, actually execute it. And our experience says...
The silence is deafening, Jack.
It is. Not a lot. Not a lot. How fast to learn? It depends. Everything. That's always the answer, right? It always depends.
Yeah,
but that's a vital couple of tools, a profit plan and a cash flow.
All right, so hold on. So they're going to CPAs for 60% of the advice. They're probably talking to them about that. Now, one of our biggest beefs with the CPA community is that they don't help the owners understand that, right?
Yeah, but that's right. So, and the business owner doesn't know how to quite frame the problem to his or her CPA. So the conversation all of a sudden kind of gets a little technical, and because we've talked to a number of CPAs who claim that their clients do know how to read their financial statements. And everyone we've tested, and there's been a good number of them, everyone we've tested, and that's testing the CPA's client, didn't know how to read their financial statement. Many don't know what a financial statement is. You know, it's a balance sheet and a profit and loss statement and a statement of cash flow and retained earnings in the official way. How many people know that? But yet,
They can
it's
Google
the
that, Jack.
scorecard of their company. It's the scorecard. They don't know how to read their scorecard.
They don't. And then this we'll end it on this. So if you're a CPA out there, how many times have you been asked by your clients, how come I have to pay taxes when there's no cash in the bank? Try to help them understand the difference between profit and cash. That $40K that they're taking out, and they realize they got to pay now $12 grand in taxes against that. Where's that money coming from? Right? They don't know. All right.